about the Darkness of Light Tarot tonight. If you are a Magdalena Tarot follower, you were familiar with the fact I was using this deck for my fall 2017 deck, my weekly tarot forecast. If you want to check out my forecast, you can go to www.magdalenatarotinc.com. And you can also find me on Instagram at Magdalena Tarot, same on Facebook. What I do is I do a weekly forecast with the tarot, numerology, and astrology that's happening in the week. So check it out. I do pick an artist once a season to use the deck. I like to connect with independent deck creators as a sort of mutual exchange where I can use the pictures on their cards and they can have more exposure. So, one day I hope to be able to compensate financially for this. Right at the moment I can't. So I really appreciate all the artists that have worked with me, like Tony DiMara. Now, one thing about the forecast is you never get to see the backs of the cards, so I'm going to give you a little look at the box as well too. And this is the same image that's on the back of the Darkness of Light Tarot. This is a wolf, and it's actually two wolves. And in Tony DiMaro's tarot book for the Darkness of Light Tarot, which you can find at www.darknesstarot.com. You can download that free ebook to find out more about his concepts of the tarot. He says that this wolf represents the spiral of duality and the endless cycle of beginnings and endings. At least that's how I took it. So I'm going to give you a little look at the box here. There's the wolf. We've got a little mandala on the side. We've got the title, a little bit about the publication, and then the title on the front of the box as well. So this box is a little tricky for me to open, so if you do order this deck, make sure you use a flat surface to open this box. So I'm going to use my little Masonic 33rd degree spoon and you just sort of stick the flat end of the whatever it is you choose to use into the box and to open it, and then voila. Don't try it without the flat end, just a heads up. So we also get with this a bag, a little burlap bag to keep your cards in. So that's that as well. And Tony also includes a thank you, and he does sign his boxes as well. So we have a signed box from the artist right there. Now, let's talk a little bit about the deck. I'm sure you're pretty familiar with the images if you follow me, but if you're just watching this video because you were directed here or were Googling it and found it, then you might not be aware of the images. So, this deck has a couple of fundamental bases that Tony used to build the concepts around. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Now, I'm going to separate this deck out so that we can have it in the way order talked about. So we have our major, and then now Tony, what he has done is divided the year into quarters according to the season, and then used the seasons to dominate the suits. So we have the swords, which are winter. We have the wands. These are spring. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. There we go. We have the cups, which are summer. Here they are. And then we have the pentacles, or coins as Tony calls them, and that's fall. So we have the deck all spread out here and ready to discuss. Now, duality is the theme throughout the entire deck. If you download Tony's book, you will see this, these verses that he wrote about, it's called Meditations on Existence. And it says, in the darkness we are eclipsed, in the light we eclipse each other. What is, and there is not what is not. Nature is a creator, destroyer, and the only law. The brightest and the darkest paths are the same, and they are blinding. So, in those verses, you kind of get an idea of the creator's idea of what darkness and light is. And, like I said, duality is the theme. There's also a historical significance to the deck. Now, if you look at the major arcana, what you notice is that the names of the cards are in Italian. And, you know, there's a lot of debate about where tarot comes from. Some people think it came from ancient Egypt. I'm not one of those people, and Tony's not one of those people either. He believes that it came from Europe and possibly Italy in the mid-15th century. I think that's probably the most reasonable conclusion as well. So it was a game that was played, and if you order the printed version of this book, you can get the instructions for the original tarot game, which is kind of cool too. I don't have the printed version. I'd really like to see that though. So the Italian titles of the cards are significant in that respect, as well as the fact that Tony is of Italian descent and is honoring his family line. Another neat thing about this deck is that the major arcana does not have anything to do with seasons. It's all black and white, and that's because it's supposed to take place outside of time. So this sort of gives it a timeless look here. And as you can see, these illustrations are just absolutely gorgeous. This is why I fell in love with this deck in the first place. Just the rich, classic art sort of turn of the last century, the beginning of the 20th century feeling of the mystical art that was happening at that time, like throwing a name out there, Mucha, and obviously Pamela Smith, who created the Rider-Waite tarot artwork. So we've gone through that journey, the timeless journey of the major arcana. So next, let's pick up the swords and take a look at that. Now, the swords in this deck correspond with the season of winter and the crispness of the season. It's supposed to be the time between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, because if you read Tony's book, it tells you about how it ties into the Sabbats as well as honoring nature. So if you can see, the colors are pretty drab. There is a little bit of touch of blue in some of these, but it's just about the cold crispness, what is it saying Christmas, of hard logic and, the unforgivingness and unrelentlessness and just straightforwardness of the winter season. And I think he captured the emotion and the struggle that comes with the swords through assigning the season of it as winter. So let's finish off this shiny. Oh, this is one of the most beautiful cards in the deck. Take a look at that. Oh my god, just the light on that figure. Oh, so pretty. And then he's pretty awesome too. All right. So we talked about the swords. Next, we'll talk about the wands. Now, the wands are assigned to spring and the time between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. So green and pink are the predominating colors. And this deck is supposed to represent that spark that comes, that brings everything that you've planted into fruition in the summer. So this is just only the beginning, as Tony says in his book. So taking a look at these gorgeous images, you can start to see how this spark plays into his interpretation of the wand suit. And so we'll just finish this off. And I love him too. I really like the way the light just plays on the armor, the way he's in the trees, the highlights of the pink. It's just a gorgeous card. All of these cards are absolutely gorgeous. Ooh. Just a second. Let's put the... There we go. Now, cups. The cups in Tony's deck are supposed to symbolize summer. We have these soft pastel colors, blues, pinks, gold, red. They're the most colorful colors. Oh, I love this card. Oh my goodness. Just look at how pretty that is. So this is probably my favorite suit that Tony has illustrated. He just really captures the emotion of the cups, and the warmth of the cups, even the cups that are negative. He does a great job of just bringing out the sheer emotion through his artwork. Now, he says that with the cups, you know, it symbolizes the life and vigor and fulfillment that follows spring. So let's just take a look at these. Oh, gosh, look at how gorgeous that is. Just the beautiful sunset and the mother with her little girl and the field. It's beautiful. And he captures nature very, in a very, I don't know, how would I say it, a lively way. He really shows the spirit of nature. So 8 of Cups, 9 of Cups. I love the 10 of Cups too. The family walking into the sunset, just reminding us of the cycle of everything has a beginning and end with the sun going down, and then the little child right there. Just beautiful. And the Queen of Cups too, like, I love how the waves are just crashing behind her. Her little pregnant belly's poking out. She's just calling in everything feminine, which is what the Cups is. Just a great interpretation of the card. And then I think he's pretty hot, but and that's about it with that guy. So let's talk about Pentacles next. Now, if you see the Pentacles, the dominating colors here are fall. So this is the time between the summer equinox and the winter solstice again. So we bring the wheel of the year full circle. And the predominating colors are the oranges, the yellows, and sort of the gray darkness of the onset of winter. Now, Tony says that the coins, or pentacles, are supposed to represent the fulfillment of everything that you brought into fruition, and the coins are like the money that you would get from selling your harvest at the market, for instance. So this is all about just the earthiness and of abundance and fruition. So we have, and you know, the cards are a little shadowy. It's getting darker. The year is getting darker. And oh, the 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles. It's so pretty. I don't know if you could see it. He's the dog is in front of the fire. It's just getting ready to snuggle in and settle down for winter. So here's this. Okay, so that about does it. So I really enjoyed working with this deck. I loved the illustrations, and one great thing about this deck, which I was not able to illustrate on Magdalena Tarot just because I'm not really showing spreads or teaching people how to read on my site, is just the graphic communication between the cards when you lay them out. They literally talk with each other like a comic book. So if you're into reading tarot and cross communicating across cards, this is a great deck. That's probably my favorite thing about how this deck reads. Just, it's so rich in narrative. If you're a narrative storyteller, you've got to check this deck out if that's your reading style like it is mine. So there we have it. The current deck I'm using, I'm just going to give a little, and my box is all jacked up over here. So I'm just going to give a little preview of my next deck. If you want to see what I'm doing now, it's the Manic Pixies Atomic Tarot. Now this deck is very untraditional. If you check me out on Magdalena Tarot, you'll see exactly why. But I love the comic art. I'm a big sucker for stories, especially graphics, graphic storytelling. So we're getting to know the Manic Pixies Atomic Tarot. That'll be the next deck review that I do. That's my winter 2018 deck, so check it out. Thank you so much for tuning in again. I enjoy reading your comments and hearing what everybody has to say about my videos. I'll keep them coming if you keep watching, okay? So I hope you have a great night, and thank you so much for all your love and support. All right, signing out for now, Magdalena Tarot.